crap, that's too big. What's up, good people? My name's Danon, and welcome to Ahnestly. You guys might have seen from the big tech tubers like Linus Tech Tips, MKBHD, and Random Frank P, where they check out the brand new Samsung Odyssey G9, which is a massive 49-inch monitor with a 5120 by 1440 resolution, which is essentially two QHD 27-inch monitors slammed together. And the craziest part is that it has a 240 hertz refresh rate. But at $1,700, that is the furthest thing from affordable. Well, what if you could get a monitor with very similar specs at about half the cost? And that's what we're checking out here today. We're checking out the Dark Matter 49-inch monitor from Monoprice. Let's get honest. So there are actually 4 different monitors available with that 49-inch 5120 by 1440 with the high refresh rate available. And it's the Samsung Odyssey G9, the $1,700 US one. Then there's the slightly older Samsung CR G9, which is about $1,200. Then there's AOC's, and I'm gonna mess this up, I think it's AG493UCX, which is $1,000 US. And then there's the one that I'm checking out, the Dark Matter Monoprice 49-inch at $900. And throughout this review, I'll try to give comparisons between all of them as best as I can. These are all based on other people's reviews and comments and things that I've seen. So for reference, I own a 34-inch monitor, and when I sat down in front of the Dark Matter for the first time, I was just overwhelmed is the only word I can use for it. I mean, you turn your head and there's just no end of screen. It's crazy. To see anything on the left side of your screen, you literally have to turn your entire neck over to see that, which becomes a little bit problematic because if you align anything left or right, you really can't see it because it's just so far away. And part of that is because of the curvature. So the curve is not that dramatic. It's an 1800R curve, which means nothing to you guys, but if you sit down in front of it, it looks fairly straight. Now you compare that against the Odyssey G9, the newest one from Samsung, which has a 1000R curve, which again means nothing to you guys, but is a much more aggressive curve. And so in games, that aggressive curve might feel more aggressive, but I actually prefer the less aggressive 1800R curve on the Dark Matter because I do things like photo editing and video editing, and I play quick twitch FPS games. And I think that if the screen was too curvy, it would just distort some of those straight lines a little bit too much for my comfort. And so because of that, I prefer the less curvy of the Dark Matter, even though again, it is hard to see on the left and right sides without moving a little bit closer because the screen is just so freaking far away. Just for reference, the CRG9 and the AOC monitors, they also have the less aggressive 1800R curve. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up as that helps so much with the growth of this channel, and consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because I'm trying really hard to grow this thing and I would love your guys' support. Something important to note is that the spec sheet of this monitor lies to us, and it's a really good thing because on paper it says that this monitor only supports FreeSync, but it actually supports G-Sync as well. The way you turn it on is that you go into the monitor controls, turn on FreeSync, then you open up your NVIDIA control panels, and then you turn on G-Sync for there on this monitor, and you're good to go. Now, you may experience significant flickering like I did, but that's a problem with FreeSync and not the monitor itself. And the way you fix it is very easy. Again, this is a very common problem, and I'll link the fix in the description below. And keep in mind that one of the downsides of the Dark Matter monitor is that it does offer FreeSync, but it's the most basic FreeSync. The CRG9 offers FreeSync 2, and AOC and as well as the Samsung monitor all offer FreeSync Premium. I think that's what it's called. And that seems to be a bigger deal now that Big Navi has kind of been leaked a little bit, and Big Navi seems like it's gonna be a big deal. So if you do plan on switching to Big Navi or moving to the AMD GPUs, then you might wanna consider something else other than the Dark Matter. The other place where this monitor spec sheet lies to us is that it says that it has a refresh rate of 120 Hertz, when as a matter of fact, I was able to easily overclock my monitor to 144 Hertz. Now your mileage may vary because each panel is a little bit different, and also keep in mind that when I did do that, I get a very, very rare occasional flicker at things like loading screens and white screens. Again, it's very, very rare, but it does happen once in a while. So again, your mileage may vary. You may be able to push it that hard, maybe even push it further, or you may not be able to push it at all. It just depends on the panel you get. When it comes to gaming, everything looks buttery smooth thanks to G-Sync plus the high refresh rate. Now this monitor has a 4 millisecond response time, so does the Samsung CRG9, but the other two, the AOC and the Odyssey G9, both have a 1 millisecond response time. So if that's something you're sensitive to, maybe this monitor isn't for you. One thing that I will ding the dark matter monitor about is that the ghosting is just a little bit too much for my liking. So I play Hanzo in Overwatch, and as I'm flicking my mouse around, I can see the colors just blend a little bit too much, again, for my personal liking. Now, when it comes to being able to use that full 32:9 aspect in games, you can find a link in the description below to a Reddit thread where folks are piling all the games that can run in that resolution. And I will say that not the graphic heavy games, you probably won't be able to achieve full 120 FPS, which is where G-Sync comes in handy. Just keep that in mind, that if you're thinking that, oh, I'm gonna be able to run this game at 120, 144 hertz, or FPS, it's probably not gonna be likely just because of the sheer resolution. But the next generation GPUs are coming, so this monitor should definitely future-proof you. While all 4 monitors use VA panels, only 3 of them, the Samsungs plus the dark matter, all use Samsung's QLED technology, whereas the AOC uses the older WLED technology. And QLED is supposed to make things brighter, better, more vivid, and I can tell you that colors look amazing on this monitor, so much so that here's what the color accuracy looks like. This monitor covers 100% sRGB, 94% Adobe RGB, 91% NTSC, and 96% P3. The Samsung monitors have very similar color accuracy, but the AOC monitor definitely suffers. The AOC covers 100% sRGB, but only 78.1% Adobe RGB and 82.6% P3. Now the Odyssey G9 offers 10-bit color, whereas the other 3 only offer 8-bit, but again, this is one of those conversations where it's like, who needs 10-bit color? It's the serious creatives out there, but are serious creatives going to buy a monitor this heavily curved that's gonna distort some of their lines when they're trying to edit video or photos or whatever they do? Again, this is one of those things where it's like, it's a nice to have, but it seems to have driven up the price and is targeting the wrong audience. I don't know, this is my humble opinion. I don't know if it's because I got lucky or because it's a VA panel or because of QLED technology, but my dark matter monitor, I can happily say, has very minimal backlight bleed. Now, on the AOC monitors, when I did research and read the reviews, people have complained about heavy backlight bleed on those monitors. So I'm thinking I either got really lucky or it's because of QLED, and whereas the AOC uses WLED. When it comes to HDR, the dark matter, the Samsung CRG9, and the AOC all have an HDR 400 rating, which is the lowest HDR rating you can get, and it doesn't look that great, versus the Odyssey G9, which has an HDR 1000 rating. And when it comes to peak brightness, the dark matter does lose here with the lowest peak brightness of 400 nits versus the AOC with 550 nits, the Samsung CRG9, which has 600 nits, and then the Odyssey G9, which has a whopping 1000 nits. Now, while brightness seems like a cool stat, keep in mind that when I calibrated my monitor, it told me to turn my monitor down to 200 nits. So while 1000 nits sounds amazing, you will go blind, I think, at like anything over 300 nits when you're sitting that close to it. So something, again, to keep in mind. When it comes to ports, the dark matter is the loser of the bunch, but again, this is one of those things that I don't care too much about. But if you really care about ports, the AOC is the clear winner here, because not only does it offer the same outs, it also offers additional USB ports. It also offers USB Type-C power delivery, offering 65 watts of power delivery, and it offers an internal built-in KVM switch where you can hook up your USB devices to seamlessly switch USB devices if you have multiple devices hooked up. The CRG9 offers multiple USB ports, and that's it. And then the Odyssey G9 also offers an internal built-in KVM switch, but on paper, it doesn't seem to offer any kind of power delivery, which is unfortunate at that price point for a lot of you folks who use laptops with that monitor. Now, for me personally, I don't care about a KVM switch because I use a wireless KVM switch. And if you guys wanna know what the heck a KVM switch is, or you wanna know about how to do it wirelessly, go ahead and check out my video here. When it comes to build quality, I thought I was gonna get something really shoddy, but as a matter of fact, this thing is really, really nicely built. The stand itself is a nice, dense, heavy metal, and it's connected in a way that I'm a very heavy typer, and yet even though I type heavily, I don't see the monitor wiggle very much. So props to Monoprice for getting this stock custom thing right. The downside is that you cannot adjust your monitor's height at all. So you cannot raise it up or down. It's in static height. The only adjustment you can make is bending it forward and back. Also, it offers a very, very, very basic cable management system, which is basically you stick it in one hole and it comes out the other. And that sounds really dirty, but it's not, but the hole is just too small. Okay, this sounds really dirty. Basically, it's worthless, but it does offer a 75 by 75 VESA mount. I don't know how you pronounce it. Oh, I forgot to mention that there is a ring of RGB light on the stand for added performance. So at $900, is this monitor worth it? I would say of the 49-inch monitor bunch, I would say this is the best one to pick up. Why? Because of the price tag. At $900 is cheaper than all the others. By far, much greater color accuracy than the AOC and very comparable compared to the Odyssey G9. And yet at the same time, it makes sense because the Odyssey G9 has a crazy curve, which is something that maybe immersive gamers want, but it's not something slightly more professional gamers want, and probably not something that real creatives want, even though it's got all the specs for creators. So I just think that this monitor is a little bit more sensible for the average creator hybrid gamer out there. The only problem is that you're gonna have to wait until it comes back in stock, and when it does, you gotta have a quick finger because these things went out of stock extremely quick the last time they were in stock. That's gonna do it for this one. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as that helps this channel a lot, and consider subscribing for more honest content. And also let me know in the comments below if you guys agree with my whole sentiment about the too curviness being bad for creators. Anyways, until next time everybody, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.